Ooh, good morning. Good morning. Hello, ladies. Happy Friday. TGIF. So good to see you this morning. We are missing our Miss Danny this morning. She is doing a wedding today. So we miss you, Danny. We love you. Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa Levine. I have my co-host here, Wonderful Morrison. And we have Diane Rambo as our guest from Destin Adventures. We're going to have a good show today. First, okay, we've got some what is that? Backlog there. Okay. How we move forward in life is important. It matters. We're here every Friday at 9:30 for you, visiting about how we forge ahead. We talk about leadership, mindset, life balance, career, spirituality. That's my background noise, isn't it? It's me. I wonder what that is.
I don't hear anything. Do you?
You don't hear a background? Well, good. Okay.
I do. Do I need a mute?
I'm having audio issues, I guess, today, which I'm not sure why, but technology is such fun. Maybe you will have to MC Wonderful if I'm going to have this background drama behind me. But anyway, so where'd I leave off? The news we talk about sometimes, money, health, relationships, or whatever comes to mind. Today, we're talking about the wonderful, wonderful world of autism. And our wonderful guest, Diane Rambo, is going to talk with us because it is just amazing what she's doing with the world, teaching and loving on people. And I just love her so much. So we're going to get to you in a couple of minutes, Diane, to share. But first off, we do our top of mind. So what do you have on top of your mind, Miss Wonderful Morrison?
So, yes, Lindy Moose says someone needs to mute or turn off their speaker. I don't know.
Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
Now you're muted. We can't hear you.
Woohoo! Happy Friday, everyone. That is what we are all about this Friday, is the unexpected situations in life, in the spaces that most really affect us. Is I'm so glad we're having this conversation, because it's not that people don't there's not a dialogue on, you know, autism or parenting with autism or anything like that. However, I think that everybody's experience is different, and the top of mind is always, as moms and as women, we have this kind of like hidden assumption generationally to just be in our stuff. And then when somebody comes along that is either knows about it or has some kind of commonality, then you have a conversation versus just talking about it because it's available to talk about, right? And so my top of mind is really about, that's the purpose of women gathering, of these types of shows that people should really pay attention to, because we're having dialogue about things that we need to all the time anyways, whether or not it's high priority for one person or low priority for another. It's just constantly something that we need to hear, how people are dealing with how they live their lives in arenas that we know about but don't have that much information, or somebody like my beautiful friend who's been living with this for a long, long time, right? Is how old is Logan now?
Yeah, 25.
25. So I think it's not enough to just be spectators of the sport. We need to get into the arena, ladies. That's what I feel, that top of mind is we need to all be a part of each other's happiness and sadness, and hold each other's hands through the rough times, and pick each other up during the really dark times, and then like cheers and, you know, have some champagne when we're having the good times. That is my I could go on because I'm so passionate about, you know, unheard voices. Oh, it's kind of like my jam. So Thank you for letting me have a soapbox.
Cheers to that. And so
Yes.
for you guys watching, if you go to streamyard.com/Facebook and put your name in there, then we can see you and you can talk to us and ask questions. So Diane, share with us, where are you in the world? What are you up to? Tell us. We all want to know what you have going on.
Thank you, Melissa, for inviting me on here. And thank you, Wonderful, as well, for that beautiful top of mind. I think it's something that we all need to share, especially as mothers and women. It's a topic that we kind of shy away from because feel at some point embarrassed, which we don't need to be. We don't need to be embarrassed or ashamed or shunned for being in this space. So thank you so much for being able to invite me on here so I can come to you and talk from personal and professional experience on how I manage dealing with the diagnosis. So I too have a son that's 6 now. He was diagnosed at 3 with having autism. And I went through what most parents go through, denial at first. I'm like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. He's only 3. What do they know at 3? Right. And after a while, I started noticing some of the symptoms that he was displaying. And I said, you know what, maybe they are actually correct on this one. But they kept diagnosing with behavior disorders and things like that. So we went through ABA, OT, physical, speech, you name it. And it wasn't really getting better per se. And then finally, when they did say, oh, no, it is definitely autism, he's on the higher functioning end of the spectrum. So I said, oh, that kind of makes a little more sense now. Now I can accept that this is what it is and find out how I can better, progress his development, because he wasn't talking. He was not eating really. And I actually was really concerned because he wasn't eating. But the pediatrician was like, well, he's gaining weight. So as long as he's continuing to gain weight, we don't really have to monitor that until he starts dropping in weight. So that's another thing most of us, we worry about is, do they even eat enough? Because to me, he was only eating junk food. And I kind of felt bad because as a mom, I'm like, oh, they're going to look at me like all I give them is junk, crackers, cheese, juice, and honestly, I actually did not introduce him to juice. The daycare had. So thank you, daycare, because he did not want to go back to water. And I was like, oh my God, what did they start? But I went through all of those phases. And then the last phase was the very hardest phase. And there's other phases in there in between, but I just highlight the 3 most common ones. And the last one is the hardest, and that's the mindset. What do people think when I go out with my son? Do they think I'm not disciplining him enough? Do they think that I'm over disciplining him? What are they speaking, saying, and thinking about how I handle my son? And so that kind of pushed me to where I really didn't want to go too much of anywhere with my son, especially not talking about grocery stores. Oh my God. And so me being a solo parent, it's even more difficult because now it's like I have to manage time a little bit better on how I do the store runs or how I do errands and things like that. And even working, that was still is a challenge, working in normal traditional 9 to 5. Now with how everything has happened, I actually really value his development a lot more in these times versus me going out worrying about making the next dollar. So that was where I make the sacrifice. And a lot of people aren't fortunate enough to decide that. However, I want to be able to be that voice for them and let them know that in the end, no matter how rough it gets, it's actually very beneficial for your child to go through that change now, because I did my daughter totally different. I was that workaholic. I was like, no, I need to make this money so she can have a better life than I have. And I missed out on all those years. I can't get them back. So don't make the same mistake with my son. I was like, let me go ahead and input the time with him and develop strategies and activities to better him for not only in the social life, but for the rest of his life, if he's going to be able to live on his own or not. So I can go on and on and on because I'm just so passionate about this, because a lot of families need to hear this, because we feel like we can't do things because we feel like we're limited, and we're not. So I want to be that voice for them.
I have a question. What is so my question is because we just recently met, and so what does Destined Adventures create in that space?
So I became certified in autism travel, and I also extended services to consultations to be able to provide those strategies for families. Say they're not ready to travel. Say that they just want to have peace of mind at home or build that relationship, build that communication. Say you're not speaking yet, because my son was at that level. He wasn't speaking. I developed strategies, and I have an innate ability for children on how to better communicate with them and pull it out and teach them. I was online second English as a second language teacher, and that in itself is tough. So I started embracing that ability, that I have an ability to not only connect with children, but be able to teach them skills that will be able to make a better relationship with their mother or father or whoever their caregiver is. And so I just want to extend that out to families and say, hey, if we not ready to travel yet and you just want to work on that piece, we definitely can cultivate a package for that so that you can have better peace of mind. You know, it is going to take patience. It's going to take commitment. It's definitely going to take collaboration, because every child that's on the spectrum, no matter if it's the same level,
Mhm.
everyone's different. So everyone learns different. I have to understand what their learning style is, and actually understand what level they're at and things like that. So we would really get a little personal, which that's okay, because I've been through it. So I understand the sensitivity of the nature of the topic. And
Mhm.
so I definitely treat them as if they were one of mine, because I just love children. And if they decide to go forward and want to travel, then I can recommend some certified destinations that we have: certified hotels, restaurants, different destinations
What?
where 80% of the staff are literally trained and certified in recognizing and handling families with autism. And they even made
What?
some alterations to their companies. Yes, they made alterations to where they have I call them decompressing rooms, but just a room where it's just
Wow.
quiet. They have those set up for them. They change lighting, they change music in some of the settings. So it's very different from
Oh my God.
autism friendly, because
I,
autism friendly, the staff is not particularly trained. And I think that is the biggest difference, is not understanding. Because anytime I take my son anywhere, especially flying, that's the first thing I do is I let the flight attendants know. I say, look, my son has autism, especially when he goes to the bathroom. I'm like, if he's going to the bathroom, and I'm not always there, but I just still forewarn them. I'm like, he's going to
right.
scream as soon as it flushes. So if he screams, do not interfere, because if you interfere, it actually is going to make it worse. It's going to last as long as the toilet flush, and then he's going to stop, and then we will resume back being normal. And most of them really, really do understand once you explain it to them in that manner. And I was a little apprehensive in doing that at first, because I was like, what are people going to think? But again, that's that mindset that a lot of families might go through and don't even know that they're going through it.
Right. Right.
And once you make people aware, then they're like, oh, and they become more accepting, because you never know. Somebody else might be in the same situation, or they know somebody that's in that same situation, so they can relate.
I am so like people who's watching and listening, are you just floored out of your mind that there's actual destinations that adhere to your special family situation? Because that is phenomenal. That is amazing. I think as a parent, we already struggle just in general as a parent. You know what I mean? Like there's I have 3 adult children, and I look at them every day and I'm like, just how did I mess you? What did we do? Where did we go wrong? You know what and I feel like that sentence of "it takes a village to raise a child," it's a real thing. It's a whole world. It's everyone it's people like Diane who show up in the space that says, "I'm gonna do something other than raise my child. I'm gonna help you all bring it together in this community." And so you could be informed, so you can understand that yes, it's hard, but it's my hard. My heart and your heart is comparable, and let's do this together, and let's go have a vacation, or let's go like, I can't even, I'm so, my heart is so fulfilled with that. Like, I feel like that's like, how do we spread this news? How do we tell everybody in the world that there are places and trained employees to deal with that? That is impressive. Like, kudos to that facility and that organization, because that's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And
It is very beautiful.
Do you have like t-shirts or anything too? I've seen that before. Like a t-shirt, that because I have my Logan is autistic, and I remember one time we traveled, which we don't travel a lot because of that, because we never know when he's gonna have a meltdown. It's like, what if we're on the plane, like scary. So we but I remember we traveled once and somebody had given me a t-shirt that he could wear that said, like, "Be
oh,
nice, I have autism." And
oh,
that's helpful too, like, I loved that. I was like, "That helps so much," because then people understand and you don't get the dirty looks and things like that, which are hard. It's hard as a parent when, people are giving you those dirty looks. And so, yeah, I was so excited when I met Miss Diane. She is just amazing, and her heart to help people. So, yeah, anything that we can do, anything that you can do when you're watching to share her and share what she's doing to help people, it's truly life changing and world changing. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you so much for being able to allow me on this platform to spread the word, because, I'm on a mission. I want more travel partners to be able to become certified destinations. We do have some international, but we need more. We have some that are nationally, but we need more. Let's just put it out there. We need more so families will feel secure and safe, because I feel like, they are not really equipped, but we manage. There's plenty of places we've been to that were not certified centers. And we manage because I make sure I communicate with where the guest services or anyone that's cleaning the room, things like that. I just explain to them kind of what to expect. And they're very, very quick to, come in and help, which that is what I do love, is a lot of people are willing to help. And as us parents that have children that's on the spectrum, we tend to want to shy away from that help because we never know how our child will receive it. And as long as we're just more communicative to those, to let them know, hey, I appreciate that. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and we just have to kind of let us test the waters, if you will. That's exactly what I did when I first traveled with my son. I didn't know how he was going to act. I was like, is he going to even like the plane? Because for a long time, he didn't like sounds like that. Now he's almost like the opposite. He loves a lot of noise. Oh my God. But I guess it depends on the pitch of
yeah,
it that bothers him. And certain things he still texture wise, he doesn't like. So I'm willing to be able to I actually have ideas on how I can get other partners to be able to come aboard and say why it would be beneficial for them to be able to become certified destinations. And it's not only going to benefit customers, but it will also benefit their employees. Say they wanted to hire someone that's on the spectrum. What if they had that room
good idea.
that is not available for not only for customers, but also for their employees to go in and really wind down from all of the everyday stress of clients or customers coming in and out. That is going to be like huge,
Right.
using it as a dual purpose. So it's a win-win. You have it for your customers and you also have it for your employees. It's a win-win. Then you can retain your employees, and they see that you are truly inclusive. Because we talk about inclusivity a lot, but how much inclusive are you really, really
Right.
doing, for these employees or for those that's on the spectrum? So I definitely want to reach out to more and get more partners on, because most of the places, again, we went to were not certified centers. We tried, we attempted. It just didn't fit our schedule at that time. And so I really couldn't say if they're really up to it, but I do know they go through rigorous viewings and testing and making sure they stay up to par and fitting into the certification guidelines. So I do know that because they send someone out every so often to make sure that they're in compliance.
Wow. I mean, you are like leading the charge on this. Because having ran a martial arts school for 20 plus years, it was one of the arenas where the doctors would suggest children in the spectrum or, wherever that frame of diagnosis is. So we worked with a lot of kids in that arena. And it's always so fascinating to me that if somebody had come up to us and said, hey, you're a facility that would be really appealing to a group of people, would you be willing to get certified? And absolutely, because we'd already been in that arena anyhow. We just didn't know that there's other levels of growth within that. But knowing that too, there's so many other things like those big play spaces that could just be built around the idea of catering to these kids so that they can be a part of the dynamic. I think that's what I love about this conversation is that inclusivity isn't just a word. It isn't just an idea. It's actually just let's all come together and let's not categorize things in differences, right?
Yeah, love that.
It's you know what I'm saying? Like let's not say, oh, well, this is the situation and this is the solution for that. No, we all have a different idea of what environment to create and how to invite people in and how to be inclusive. And I love that. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a training for this. I'm like mind blown this morning. Okay.
That's
And
awesome.
it's so ironic because I didn't know it existed either until I went through and got my certification. I was like, wait a minute, they're certifying some of everybody. You name it, physicians, teachers, counselors. And I even thought about it, but they didn't want you to master's. I only have a bachelor's in psychology, but they want you to have a master's to get certified in actual autism itself. And so I was like, well, darn, how do I get to that
You
level?
do
Because
have
I
a
do really,
master's.
really have a passion.
Diane, you have a master's. You're a mother. That qualifies
Yes.
as a
Master
master.
in motherhood.
Yes.
Yes.
Forget those pieces of paper. Like you are a master. I just commend you for taking the helm and saying that this isn't just for me to have a solution. I want to be a solution for other people because there are mothers struggling that may not be listening, doesn't know, but know us through like three connections or 6 connections. And it'd be amazing to have that resource and say, hey, I know someone that can really support you in that. So with that being said, where do we find you? How do people connect with you? How do we get to you?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn as Autism Travel Consult Diane Rambo. That's how you can find me on there. I'm also now on TikTok,
Oh,
autism_travel. Yeah, so you'll see a little more personalized versions of me and my son on there. He's always camera ready too. But you can see the walkthrough of what we go through every day. It's not just going to be this is me and this is me telling the story. It's also going to be him interacting as well. So you can see his growth because people that know us, they actually can see his growth already. They're like, oh my God, the baby is talking. I'm like, yes, he's talking.
wow.
So definitely reach out to me on those social media platforms on there. I don't have many followers on YouTube yet because I do a Travel Tip Tuesday. I started that back up. So once I get enough followers, I'll have a custom name. It's right now a real long, funky name. So definitely you can reach out on the other channels.
Wow. I think anyone who has any live videos or shows online right now and you're listening, you need to invite Diane on and have a larger pool of conversation about this, because it is imperative. Anything that has to deal with parenting, I think it is how our world will heal, is through our children being loved and cared for and nurtured now, right? If we're looking for solutions to the greatest problems, it starts here. This is it. This is our
Yeah.
greatest role in life, is to parent our children in a way that supports their desires and who they are authentically in the world that needs only what they have to offer, right? So I feel like want to invite you onto I have a group called Leadership Community. um, we're a small group of 900 people, but we would love to have you on and just have this conversation. And anyone else, really, I think this is a very important conversation to be having. Very important.
Yes. Yes, because we don't have we think we have a lot of resources in areas, but we really don't.
Right.
Even when I moved to Vegas, I was very shocked at how for schools there's only one private school here that's strictly for those on the spectrum, just one private school, no daycares, no community centers, no nothing. Now we do, however, there's one plus. We do have a sports team here that caters to those on the spectrum and other cognitive disorders, and they do have activities set up. So I do want to partner with them because I actually want to spin off and have community centers around the world, not just the nation, but the world, because it's a worldwide phenomenon that many
Absolutely.
parents are going through right now. And to have that support, not only for our children, but for us, we have to remember, we have to care for ourselves in
Right.
order to continue to be able to care for them. So I want to have that safe haven, that peace where everyone goes home refreshed, decompressed, and relaxed, whether they need counseling, whether they need a support group, whether they need, just a spa day, just to unwind from the everyday stresses of, raising someone that is on the spectrum. That is
Yeah.
the ultimate end result that, it's going to take a village to build, but that's what we're here for, to discuss and build those relationships to be able to go to that next level.
That's right. Look at every week, ladies. This is what we're talking about. All right. Superheroes. We have superheroes right here, right now, breathing and living with all of us. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
Perfect, since it's International Women's Month, right?
Yeah. I
Yes.
don't know about the whole month. We should have an entire decade.
Yeah, we usually have mostly women on here, but since it's Women's Month, we gotta keep it real with more women coming on. So I believe next week we have a spot open. So if you're listening and you want to come on and share with us what you're up to in the world and how you're helping and serving others, please fill out that link there and come on with us. We'd love to have you on. So I posted the links in the chat to get a hold of Diane. Um,
Yes.
we have 2 minutes left. What else, ladies, do you have going on?
Yeah. So you're located in Vegas, but you travel everywhere. Do you have any type of other than your Tuesday tips, like an informational space for just people who might be in that space? Or how you're in the beginning, how you shared in the very beginning, like you weren't sure but you knew that you kept getting different diagnosis. I think that that's a really important place too, because when they're young, there's just an assumption, well, they're kids, that's just how they behave, kind of thing. So
Yes. Um, So yes, I definitely share on all of my social media platforms different resources. I provide links to them if they want access to more that is like customized to what they specific, like a specific topic. Then I can definitely research for them or check my resources and see if I have that link and provide it for them to read through, because it's a lot of information. You just want to make sure you have the correct and accurate information. I know my educator that certified me. He actually has autism. His name is Dr. Stephen Shore, and he goes and advocates around the world. And his story was so powerful, and that's what really, really moved me to really get out there more, because he was on the low end of the spectrum. They told him he was not even supposed to talk. He shows videos of him not making not one peep. And now to hear him as a doctor speaking on stage, and I'm just sitting here like, my mouth stayed open the entire time as he's talking and teaching us. And I'm just like, this is amazing, because that gave me the hope that my son will be able to talk. I just got to figure out how, and continue to work. So you do, like, that village is key. It really, really is key, that village, because that's how I got my son. I got to talking to different people, doing research, and that's how I cultivated a strategy for him to get him to talk. And I want to share that with others, that there are ways you can get them to communicate. They listen and understand a lot more than we give them credit for. And it's just, how do we get that and pull that out of them? So for more information, let me know. I'm glad to provide that.
Yes. Well, that is the thought of the day, is anything is possible, right? Anything is possible.
Yes.
Right.
We'll leave you with that. Anything's possible, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much, Diane, for joining us. And
thank you so much, ladies.
We'll see you all next week.